I know this isn't Municipal Stadium, but I got the dog in me today, man. I'm ready to go. I hope you are as well. We got the Cleveland Browns and oh, Browns. Oh, baby. We got to figure this thing out. This roster is very interesting. It's a very good roster, but you got a couple of big question marks. I want to go through this, man. Why are they 26? Why are they not higher? Why are they not lower? Hey, 26 is respectable. Okay. And there's some fluctuation to be had here. But looking at the offensive line, this offensive line could be very good. Health in general has been their biggest Achilles heel on this offensive line, especially going to last year, was a catastrophe in general. DeJuan Jones, how does he look at training camp this year? Hopefully, he looks a little lighter, a little slimmer, a little trimmer. That would be nice, right? A little barber cut. No, none of that. But if he wants to, right? I mean, he's got some good. We got some good going on, some good vibes, I think. And I think this is going to be a year where DeJuan Jones ready to bounce back. He's going to be hungry. You got Cornelius Lucas, though. At least gives me a little bit of breather. It leaves a little bit edge because I know he is a solid player. You go back to his Washington days last year, he was really, really good. Him and Brandon Coleman were basically kind of rotating in and out and whatnot, but I thought Lucas did a great job and was ultimately their better protector. With that experience he has too, can play right, left tackle for injuries. Remember, Jack Conklin has also had a lot of injuries. He looked good though last year when he was on the field. So I will say, hopefully we can continue that with Jack Conklin because he's still got a lot of good football, I feel like, left in him. He's still a very good player. It just comes down to that injury question. Maybe that's why he's not, higher. But I think if he puts together a good season here, he could get back to being a star-studded tackle. I think they've got a solid group of tackles. It's definitely better than last year. You got Jackson Barton too. I think we'll round out that fourth tackle position. Interior, you got the guard position, which to me, really good. I rank him at number one, so you can't get much better than that, right? I mean, I guess number zero. We could do zeros out here too, but no, there's not a zero ranking. Tevin Jenkins, Joel Bitonio, and Wyatt Teller. If you tell me those three guys are your guard grouping, that is, which it is, and they stay healthy, that is the best guard grouping in the NFL. It just came down to last year. Bitonio, Teller, yeah, you took a bit of a step back. They were dealing with injuries. And with Jenkins out here too, that's an insane group of guards. And it's certainly like, I want to put these guys in six offensive line packages. Get Jenkins out there. And I think they're going to do that. Use him as a sixth offense lineman because he can play tackle too, going back to his college days, of course. So line up six tackles, put him out next to DeJuan Jones if he's having trouble protecting the passer. That would be really a great strategy for this team. And I hope that that's what Stefanski is going to be looking at doing this season and run the rock. Hopefully, Quinshon Judkins gets back with everything, the legal stuff. We'll talk about more about the running back room here in a minute. But that is really what I would envision for this offense this year is they're going to be transitioning to more wide zone and stuff like that. Again, getting back to Stefanski's roots. And then you got Ethan Posick at center. I rank him at number 14, coming off a down year as well. However, I do think he'll get back to at least being a solid center this year, at least above average. On to the wide receiving position. This is an area that definitely is a concern going in this year. However, I am much higher on Jerry Jeudy than others. I really think that this could be, and like last year's number, yeah, he put up 1,200 yards. He was inconsistent. All right. So some of it was skewed by a couple of games, especially the Denver game where he had almost like 300 yards. However, like that to me is Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to turn into Amari Cooper 2.0. And I fully expect Jerry Jeudy to get better and better as he continues along in his progression in his career. And now that he's in the prime of his career, I think he's going to have another 1,000 yard season, barring an injury. He's a very good receiver. We all know he has the talent. It just comes down to consistency. Maybe some of the work ethic stuff has been questioned with him. I know he got called out. Was it Steve Smith that called him out on TV or whatever? But whichever you want to look at it, I think Jerry Jeudy is a good wide receiver from what I have seen. He can do it all. He's just got to be more consistent on the field. Cedric Tillman going into year number 3 now, I believe, and that's going to be something where he's shown flashes. When you have a quarterback that can throw and whatnot, like, and trust Cedric Tillman, he's definitely shown the flashes. I'm hoping he takes that next step. Like, they need him big time, especially with Deontay Johnson, which I rank as 71. As long as he's willing to play in the cold weather, then we're okay. But that's definitely going to be a question of some of the off the field stuff with Deontay Johnson. It's a bit of a mixed bag here in this receiving core, and you're hoping that it comes together. You got some veterans in here like a DeAndre Carter. David Bell maybe gets healthy this season. You got Jamari Thrash going into year number 2, Michael Woods. They're going to be competing for roster spots. I think Bell, Woods are going to be competing for a roster spot, I would imagine, with Carter. And, who's going to be that fifth, sixth guy. I think Thrash will make the roster. And then you got some other guys who are going to be special teamers and whatnot. Receiving core at 29, just too many big questions looming over this room. But I do like a Jerry Jeudy a lot. And I think he will turn into a star player after this season and fully expect people to look a lot higher on Jerry Jeudy after this year. Like, that's just my opinion. Tight end room, though, does help and save them quite a bit in terms of, like, quarterback, have weapons. David Njoku, once again, another theme as I talk about, the offense was so banged up, and David Njoku is one of those guys who was dealing with injuries last season for a good chunk of the overall, in general, most games. Harold Fanning Jr. adds into the room, which I love that, man. He's gonna be a great understudy. Njoku going to a contract year. I think Fanning will be the future for them, but Njoku's still a very good player, and going to a contract year, he's gonna wanna be playing tough, even if the Browns don't sign him to get a contract somewhere else. Blake Whiteheart, I do think he'll end up making the roster here as that third tight end. I like him, and I think he's a guy that from Wake Forest has some nice jump ball ability and is a decent blocker as well. I think the tight end room, though, is top 10. I really do, barring injuries and whatnot. And I'll say that, of course, about any position in general. Like, you can always have injuries will derail you no matter what. On to the running back room at number 30 here for them. And it just comes down to with the Judkins legal thing. Jerome Ford's solid. I think Ford is a low end starter, ideally maybe a backup. And that's no knock against him. He's a good running back, man. He definitely gets started in the NFL. He's got some ability, no doubt about it. Samson Judkins, though, to me is the future of this running back room. With Ford going in a contract year, Samson and Judkins, what a combination. You got your electricity with Samson, and you got your power and your oomph with Judkins. And not to mention, I mean, Judkins is still fast. I mean, 4.4 guy as well. But obviously just on film, I feel like Samson's going to be your electric speed receiver option, and Judkins is going to be your power and your workhorse between the tackles. Whew, man, that's a good group. That is a really good group. Hopefully, Judkins' legal issues get situated here very, very soon and whatnot. But I rank it 30th, just being conservative with the rookies in their room. I think the room is fine, though. Quarterback, and this is, what do we talk about with this quarterback room? Flacco looking excited over there. He's ready to go, and I hope he is because to me, this quarterback room is going to be wide open. I wouldn't be shocked if you see all four of these quarterbacks start at some point this year. Personally, I would keep all four of these guys, and I do rank them all the same, just because, like, I honestly, at this point, I really don't know, and I think we all don't really know at this point. And maybe the Browns know a little bit of what's going on back there. From what I've heard, Kenny Pickett is getting most of the first team reps. However, it is still very early, and Flacco is a veteran, so I think that's to be expected that Pickett's getting most of the reps right now. And I still have Flacco listed as the starter. It could totally probably will change. I think Gabriel, I've heard he's pushing first team reps. He's been getting some first team reps. Sanders been getting mainly second and third team reps. And maybe things change. We shall see. But for right now, I do think that you're going to see a lot of competition. I know we're going to see a lot of competition. Too bad they don't have Hard Knocks, man. That would be fire. It would be, especially with Shador Sanders in there. Overall, rank it at 28. At least they've got a lot of quarterbacks, right? I mean, that's the kind of why they're not 32nd or 30th. I mean, they've got options, right? They've got guys, and hopefully one of these dudes sticks. And they don't have to be Patrick Mahomes, but if they could just give you solid 15 to 20 quarterback play, this is a playoff caliber team. Moving on to the defense, though, now, and this defensive line looks scary and it looks really good. You got more young talent coming on here this season with Mason Graham. Ranked their edge room at 7. If Isaiah McGuire takes that next step, this is an easy top 5 unit. Myles Garrett, I've ranked as the best edge rusher in the NFL. You can make the argument Micah Parsons or a TJ Watt. It's neck and neck. I think Garrett, though, like, if it were me, if you had to tell me who would you take for a season or a game, if you're in the Super Bowl, which edge rusher do you want? I'm grabbing Myles Garrett. He's a beast, man. He does everything. Like, that's the thing. Micah Parsons, I mean, Micah Parsons does everything too, but I think Myles Garrett's a little bit like overall, just he's unstoppable in the run game, unstoppable in the pass game. There's nothing that Myles Garrett can't handle. He is a freakazoid. Anyway, you got depth too. Joe Tryon, Shinika, Alex Wright. I feel very, very good about their depth. They're in a good spot. Interior defensive line easily could be better than this. Mason Graham, Michael Hall, those two young guys, what a group it is. I mean, seriously, that young core that they have. Jawan Briggs is your early down run defender, can help out, be a rotational piece. You got your 3 veterans with Collins, Harris, Kamara. Very, very solid group. It's just there's not much to be said about this. This is a very, very good group that has experience plus youth. It's a perfect combination, man. I love this defensive line. Very good. Linebackers, this would easily be a top 10 unit. It probably would be a top 5 unit if JOK was okay this season. First and foremost, hopefully he's okay. And just in general, those neck injuries, man, they're scary. Like when you think about it, you got knee injuries and whatnot, and they take a toll in your life and whatnot. But it seems like the neck and the back injuries are the most dangerous just for yourself and concussions too, right? Concussions definitely. But hopefully JOK is going to be okay. And going into next season, we get they can get him back healthy. Going in this season, though, strictly what they have right now, Carson Swessinger, I think is going to hit the ground running. I think you got Jordan Hicks with that veteran experience. He was really good last year. Devin Bush can certainly play. Maybe he is the starter right away. But then you got Jerome Baker who can play. You got Mohamed Diabate who can play in rotation and whatnot. So Winston Reed, like they've got guys on this roster. I think it's a very, very good group, even with the injury of JOK. And then moving on to the cornerback room, which I have ranked at 18th. A little bit of a drop off, I would say, from last year. I had to rank them a little bit lower, but I do think they're going to be better this year. At least that's the hope, right? Martin Emerson, you could say, well, it can't get much worse than it did last year. What happened with Emerson? I don't know. I have to continue. I remember if I read something he was dealing with injuries or not. I'm not sure completely. However, he was really good in his rookie and his second year. I'm like, this guy could be a stud, could be a top 10 corner in the NFL very easily. He was locking dudes down. And then this past year, he was getting cooked cheese all the time. It seems like maybe, Jim Schwartz does play an aggressive brand of defense. Overall, though, we shall see with Emerson. Okay. Like that's going to be a big thing. He's going to a contract year. I'm still very high on Emerson and what he can be. And I know he can be a very good corner. So that's just going to be some things he's got to iron out this year. Newsome, once again, the consistency with Newsome, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Alante Taylor. Taylor, I see some like high end reps, like top 10 slot corner reps. Newsome, maybe don't see that as much with him, but I know he's got the talent to be a really good player. Yeah, Cameron Mitchell certainly can work in their rotation. Denzel Ward, Denzel Ward's a beast and whatnot, so that I'm not worried about. So your main rotation is Mitchell, Newsome, Emerson, and Ward are your guys there. And Mitchell can play inside out, and so can Newsome and whatnot. Anyway, it's a good cornerback room, and hopefully they can bounce back a little bit this year. They could be a top 15 unit very easily. Safety wise, they're in a really good position here. Like in terms of who's going to make the roster, of course, Hickman, Delpit, those to me are your starters. I think Hickman's got to stay healthy. That's been his biggest thing. Even Delpit's dealt with some injuries throughout his career, of course. And depth-wise, though, your Jenkins, KZ should give them some really nice depth. And yeah, I think it's a really good group. I think they're in a good position. I rank them at 17th. It's not like an elite group. I don't think they have an elite player in here. Overall, though, it's just a very consistent, viable safety position that's going to get the job done. Totally fun, right? Coaching-wise, I rank it 17th. I still am high on Kevin Stefanski. I still think he's a good coach. He's going to be on the hot seat. I know that, and it's unfortunate just with the situation they've had, but it's not all on him to blame. And you got some good coaching staff. I think Tommy Rees here going to help them out with Kevin Stefanski and want to play a lot more of a zone heavy, get back to the roots there. You got Jim Schwartz as the defensive mind. He's a good defensive coordinator, and certainly maybe with some more better coverage this year, will be a better unit in general. So their coaching staff, I think, is a mid-tier room that Stefanski, if he can get that quarterback figured out this year, certainly this is a playoff caliber team. Now, as I just hype him up and everything, you're like, boom, you hit him with the 5-12. What are you doing, right? I know it is what it is, but hey, I went through this and it's just kind of a simulation of everything. The division is tough. It really is. And you got to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals twice a year. That is a very, very tough one in its own right. And their schedule in general looks a little bit challenging. Their quarterback situation is a little bit of up in the air. That's really what it is for me personally. I know they've got the talent to say playoff caliber team. And if they figure out the quarterback position, if they find a guy that can just be solid for them, I certainly think they'll be a better team than this. It just comes down to that variable, and it's a big variable to say. So 5-12 here, 26 on my rankings as of right now. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree. Am I too low? Am I too high? All right. I mean, who knows, right? It could be a lot of variables for this Browns team, but I know their roster is so good, and it is good. So hope you guys have a good day. Let me know what you think. Oh, agree or disagree. Dog Pound 40 years celebration. That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, it's going to be a fun year and ready to go.